My name is Dr. C, and I teach the pre-engineering program here at the center, and we use a curriculum called Project Lead the Way. Project Lead the Way is considered a premier pre-engineering program. What makes it premier is you can actually earn up to 9 college credits while you're in high school, which means you can start college as a second semester freshman. With that said, the first class that you would take is called IED, or Introduction to Engineering Design. In this class, you learn how to pose problems like an engineer, you learn the tools that engineers use to solve problems, and you learn how to use a really cool piece of software called Autodesk Inventor. In Inventor, you create three-dimensional objects in the computer. If you take a look at the walls over here, you'll see there's like some cube-like jack-o'-lanterns over here. If you look at this wall, there are some round jack-o'-lanterns on this side. Students were learning how to use Inventor by actually carving jack-o'-lanterns. And as a matter of fact, this jack-o'-lantern was carved last year by a student by the name of Quincy Strader. Now, Quincy decided to make his custom jack-o'-lantern by using the logo from the Cates Center. Well, he was so happy with the way it came out that he made a printout of it and showed it to Dr. Couch, the director. Dr. Couch was so impressed that he said, "We have to buy you a jack-o'-lantern, the tools, and the light to be able to make this for the center." Well, this is the resulting jack-o'-lantern, and because of that, now every student in IED gets a jack-o'-lantern, and here is a jack-o'-lantern that was created by a student this year who's interested in the Air Force. He's planning on going into the Air Force after school, and as a result, he did an Air Force logo as his. Now let me come over to that side and talk about the next course, and that class is called POE, or Principles of Engineering. Okay, you guys can come a little closer. Principles of Engineering deals more with how does something actually work. So in this case, we have an antique boat, or an antique toy. It's called a putt-putt boat, and it's got no moving parts. It has a tube that's in the water. It goes through the boat, coils around, comes back. We put some water inside the tube, and normally you would put a piece of a birthday candle in there to make this thing go, but I'm going to use this lighter to be able to heat up that little coil that holds the water. So, it's not too dangerous. After all, we've got a whole tub of water here. So, once it heats up, you can see the boat starts moving. Now, the question is, how is something with no moving parts moving? Those are the things we look at in Principles of Engineering. Now, you guys stay here. Let me come around to that side. The next class that you would take is called Aerospace Engineering. And in aerospace engineering, we look at the parts of an airplane, the control surfaces, what causes an airplane to be stable. We learn about rockets, rocket engines, satellites, and whatnot. And one of the cool things about this class is that we actually get to use paper airplanes in the classroom. So if the principal walks in and sees a paper airplane flying around, I'm not in trouble. If students know all those principles and actually understand them, they can adjust a paper airplane to do something like this. To make a paper airplane do that, you actually have to know what are all the adjustments and control surfaces and requirements. Now come on down here. I'm going to show you a project that the students did last year. This is called a hovercraft. And it was used to demonstrate lift. Lift is the result of high pressure on the bottom, low pressure on the top, which happens on a wing. But we're going to produce high pressure using a leaf blower. Now, anybody who's ever used a leaf blower knows that you can put your hand on a leaf blower and you can stop it. It's no big deal. But if we put it down onto a disc and we increase the amount of area that the pressure is over, we can produce a significant amount of force. I weigh about 200 pounds. I'm going to turn this on low, and it's actually going to lift me off the ground just a fraction of an inch, and then I'm going to start sliding downhill. So we're going to see which way downhill is. So let me turn this on. I'm sliding this way because when they polish the floor, they come around here and they polish, and they come around here and polish, so this part of the floor gets hollowed out a little bit more, and as a result, when I turn it on, I slide in that direction. The last class that we have is called EDD, Engineering Design and Development. And if you look over there, you'll see like a powder blue box by the door. That was a project done last year by a team of students, a young man and a young lady, and they both did volunteer work at an animal shelter. Now, their problem was that Cats were not being adopted because people would come in, they would smell the kitty litter, and they would go away. So they wanted to create a device that would basically eliminate kitty litter odor. But here was the constraints. They could use no chemicals, no air freshener, no bleach, nothing of that kind. So they did some research, found out that the smell is brought about by bacteria that gets picked up by the animals. So if you kill the bacteria, you kill the smell. They made a fan that draws air over the kitty litter box and passes the air through something called an ultraviolet light and an ionizer that kills the bacteria. The result is they eliminated the bacteria, they eliminated the odor. When they tested it out on a weekend, they actually were so successful that people could not tell there was a kitty litter tray in the room, and more importantly, they actually had 3 offers from people who wanted to buy that box from them, just as the one you see right there. So these students are currently at USC in the engineering program, the young man and the young lady, and when they finish this semester, they actually want to come back and consider the next step of how they could actually manufacture that. So, any questions? Well, I hope you'll consider Project Lead the Way and coming to the center, and when you leave, you can go out those doors, and the ghost over the sink, by the way, he was made by an after-school group called Inventi, and he's sound activated, so if you go and make a sound, he will go and come do his thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.